Wow. Okay. What a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
That sermon from Pastor Florin at Agape Community Church, part of that Authentic Community series,
hmm
it really, it resonated. He just kind of cuts through things, gets right to the point. Genuinely good stuff today.
Absolutely. I was sitting there thinking, even while he was talking, about, okay, what does this actually look like?
Yeah.
Practically.
Right.
Because, hearing a message is one thing, it can stir you up, but then
Yeah.
how do you actually live it? That's
Yeah.
kind of what we want to dig into here, right? To go beyond just hearing it.
Exactly. And the big thing for me was this whole idea of like spiritual maturity and being an apprentice of Jesus.
Yeah, that apprenticeship language is key.
It raises that question. I think a lot of us feel it. How do we get past just knowing about faith or, agreeing with it in our heads to actually living it, especially when you feel kind of stuck, spiritually stagnant, maybe? I see that, especially with younger people today. There's this real hunger for something deeper, more than just surface stuff. And the sermon really tapped into that.
It did. That cry for more was right where he started.
Yeah, that analogy he used right at the beginning was powerful. The mother watching her kids struggle and just crying out, "You were made for more than this. You've got so much potential."
Powerful image.
And he said the writer of Hebrews had that same kind of feeling, that cry of deep urgency and fierce love. It wasn't nagging. It was like waking people up, an invitation.
That's such an important distinction because the text itself, Hebrews 5 and into 6,
Yeah.
it does talk about this spiritual stagnation.
Right.
It says, by this time you ought to be teachers, but you still need the basics again.
Yeah.
But like Pastor Florin said, it's not about shame. It's about longing for people to get the fullness, the joy that comes with actually growing. And that makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How many of us, no matter how long we've been following Jesus, or even if we're just exploring, how many feel stuck on that milk?
Right, the milk versus solid food thing. What does that actually mean for us day to day? What's the real difference?
Great question. And the sermon really contrasted stagnant faith with diligent faith.
Yeah.
Shallow immaturity versus deep maturity. And Hebrews 5 gives a definition, right? The immature person isn't really acquainted with the teaching about righteousness.
Which just means right living, basically.
Exactly, right living. But the mature, they've trained themselves by constant use to tell good from evil. It's not just knowing facts, it's transformation through doing, through practice.
Okay, that makes so much more sense with that swimming analogy he used.
Yeah, it was good.
You can read all the books, watch all the videos about swimming, but you're not a swimmer until you get in the water.
Right.
Until you splash around, struggle a bit, practice regularly. That's maturity. It's lived experience. It's trying and failing sometimes. It's that faithful repetition. It's being a swimmer, not just knowing about swimming.
And what's really interesting is the specific wording. Train yourselves by constant use. It's not just learn more. It's active. It sounds exactly like an apprenticeship, doesn't it? Hands-on, practical, daily work.
Yeah, like deliberate practice. You don't become a great musician just by reading music theory.
Exactly. You got to put in the hours, the focused work, making mistakes, fixing them. That's how you build mastery. And the sermon applied that same idea to growing spiritually.
Okay, so this is where it gets super practical. He laid out 5 elements for moving forward, for actually doing this apprenticeship, like a roadmap.
Yeah, 5 key things.
Yeah.
And they're foundational for, cultivating that right living and letting God shine through us, and they kind of build on each other.
What are they again?
Right desire, right attitude, right teaching, right actions, and right motivation.
Okay. Let's start with right desire. I remember the analogy of the student who's been in school forever, like 15 years, but still needs help with the alphabet.
Hi. Yeah.
They show up, they're physically there, but they're not applying anything. They lack that internal drive, that wanting it. And that hits home, right? Following Jesus diligently isn't just showing up on Sunday. It takes a real deep desire to actually line up our lives with God, to want his way more than ours.
It's wanting to submit, not just agree intellectually, but with your whole life. That's a big shift.
Definitely. We all want comfort or happiness, but do we truly desire God's will first?
That's the core of it.
Yeah.
And that desire leads right into the right attitude.
Okay.
That passage in Hebrews 6, the one about falling away that can sound kind of harsh.
Yeah, verses 4 to 6, it sounds pretty stern.
Right, but Pastor Florin framed it as a plea motivated by love, not condemnation. It's like seeing someone with huge potential and just begging them not to waste it.
Like the difference between the student who shrugs off advice, thinking they know it all,
Yeah,
versus the one who listens, asks questions, takes feedback, and tries again even when they mess up. Which one actually grows?
exactly. It's about being teachable, being willing, not about being perfect. We all stumble, but are we open? Do we keep learning even when it's tough? That's the attitude, a growth mindset for faith.
That reframes it completely. Okay, so building on that desire and attitude, we get to the right teaching, the launchpad, he called it.
The foundation.
So things like repentance, faith in God, cleansing rites, resurrection, judgment, those core beliefs, they're essential. The bedrock.
Absolutely crucial. Like a master builder teaching an apprentice how to lay a solid foundation. You need that.
If the apprentice is still just pouring foundations 6 months later and never puts up a wall,
Something's wrong.
you're supposed to build on the foundation, not just keep relaying it. Take that essential knowledge and let it push you forward into actually doing something with it.
Which leads perfectly into the right actions. This is the real heart of the apprenticeship, the practice part.
Okay.
Hebrews 6.12 says it plainly. We do not want you to become lazy, but to imitate those who through faith and patience inherit what has been promised.
Imitate, practice, patience. That's where the work comes in.
Exactly. Where knowledge becomes real life. The gardener analogy was spot on.
Oh yeah, the gardener. Planting seeds of faith isn't enough.
Well, if you plant seeds and then just walk away, no watering, no weeding, you get nothing.
Dry and barren.
Right. You need the right actions, that patience, perseverance, the daily care. That's how you get a harvest. That's the constant use we talked about. Showing up daily, even when you don't feel like it. Putting faith into practice. Small things, consistent things. Discipline, kindness, obedience.
Like going to the gym even when you're tired. Consistency builds strength.
Exactly the same principle.
Yeah.
Spiritually.
Okay, and the last one. The right motivation. This one. This one got me thinking.
The mirror versus the window.
Yeah. Living like a mirror where everything just reflects back on us. Every good deed, every success, it becomes about us being seen, getting props.
Seeking recognition.
But living like a window. Clear, transparent, lets God's light shine through so people see him, not just us.
Yeah, the right motivation isn't trying to get noticed. It wants to show God's goodness, not highlight our own.
It's asking, who gets the attention here? Me or God? That's a tough question sometimes.
It really is. But when you put all five together, the desire, attitude, teaching, actions, and motivation,
You see a whole picture.
a practical framework, a path to follow intentionally, to move from just knowing things to actually living a faith that honors God. It's active. It's a partnership.
You were made for more than this. That phrase just keeps echoing. It ties it all together. We have this potential, and these 5 things give us a way forward. Wanting God's way, being teachable, building on truth, practicing consistently, and doing it for his glory. It's an ongoing invitation, isn't it? Keep leaning in, keep practicing.
Absolutely. And maybe that leads to a final thought for you listening. What does it actually look like for you this week to practically apprentice under Jesus? Maybe just pick one of those 5 areas. Your desire, your attitude, how you engage with teaching, your daily actions, your motivation. Just one. And ask, okay, how can I intentionally practice this element starting today?
That's a really good practical challenge. And hey, if this whole deep dive conversation was helpful for you, please share it with a friend.
Yeah, these conversations matter.
Definitely. And listen, if you've got something specific you need prayer for, seriously, go online to agapechurch.life. You can submit it confidentially, and our prayer team will pray for you. They're amazing.
They really are.
Also, check out the Agape Community Church YouTube channel for more stuff like this. Full disclosure, it's still work in progress, but hey, we're getting better.
Always growing, right, like we talked about.
Exactly. Okay, thanks for diving deep with us today.